Hey guys, I just want to do a quick little short video. I'd like to do a quick little tutorial videos I'd like to get out and just teach some people the real basic stuff. And it really is basic when you start to break it down. Uh, Now, we're all created equal. We know that. Each man and woman's created equal. So I have no more rights than the next man or woman. So I have zero more rights than the next man or woman. That's zero, meaning I don't have any additional rights more than any other man or woman. So the total can always be zero. It can only be zero. So if I put two people together and they write something down on a piece of paper, well, that's two people. They both have zero rights more than me. So that zero plus zero is zero. So their zero equals my zero. So now if I put 100 people together and I call them a legislature, 100, 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0, 100 zeros still add up to 0. So it's their 0 equals my 0. So then how does anything they write down on a piece of paper, a written instrument, whether they call it a law, a statute, a code, or ordinance, how in the world, if they have 0 more rights than I have, can they write something down on a piece of paper and make it apply to me? They can't, okay? That's the fraud of this whole system, and this is the deception. You think these people are some magical body or beings that they can just write things down on pieces of paper and magically make them apply to you. Well, the only way you can make a piece of paper, a written instrument, apply to you or me is by way of a contract. Okay, you've got to be a signatory to the document, and by signatory in a contract, contracts have basically, in my perception of a contract, has 5 main elements. There's got to be an offer. The offer has to be accepted. There has to be consideration. It's got to be full disclosure, meaning a meeting of the minds between the two parties. And a contract can only be signed by two sentient living beings. You can't sign a contract with a corporate fiction. You don't have a cable contract or an electric contract or a water contract. You have service agreements you signed with those companies. Hey, I'll put my signature here and I'll pay you money each month and you guys provide me the service. That's not a contract, okay? That's a service agreement. So the only way you could have a contract is you've got to meet those 5 elements. So otherwise, anything these people wrote and put down on a piece of paper, if they could write things down on a piece of paper and make them apply to you, well, you would have to be their property. It's the only way it could possibly be. You'd have to be their indentured servant or their slave. And I'm pretty sure that's illegal. It's unlawful. We did away with slavery. I think we did. Though I look around now, people run around with masks. Now I think we got a bunch of slaves running around right now. But, theoretically, we did away with slavery. So the only way someone can make a document apply to you is by way of contract. And how many times have you heard the consent of the governed? Well, they're just not words, okay? They have meanings. Consent means, contractual consent. You've consented to that. You're a signatory to it. You've agreed. At no time did I ever sign a contract with the legislature. No time did I ever sign a contract with my county or my borough or my township. So all their written instruments, their ordinances, their laws, their statutes, their codes, they're not applicable because I never consented by way of contract. And if they're going to write their little ordinances down on the piece of paper and say that they can make this apply to me, well, then I would have to be their property. Now, I think they're going to have a tough time making that claim in a real court of law. And a real court of law is one that you bring the action. You're not playing defense. You're not playing defendant against anything they're doing, and you're staying out of their phony little administrative courts, and we'll get into that later. But there's no one going to be able to come in there and claim that their ordinances apply to you. I mean, imagine the borough manager walking in and stating, well, what evidence do you have that your ordinances apply to me? And he's going to say, well, you live in the borough. Excuse me, sir. Well, factually, what is the borough? The borough is a corporation that exists, that has a Dun and Bradstreet number that exists only on a piece of paper. It's a corporation like McDonald's, like Taco Bell, except McDonald's sells hamburgers, and this little group called the borough, they're basically a corporation masquerading as a government. They're providing government services. But they're providing government services. I see at the barrel of a gun, basically. Hey, pay us, or we're going to do these bad things to you. So we're going to learn how to challenge that. But the main thing I wanted to get across is, listen, written instruments don't automatically apply to you because some group has a title, a governor, a legislature, and they wrote stuff down on a piece of paper, and it magically applies to you. And it magically applies because they call it a law. Ooh, it's a law. There's only one law in this realm. The law is you don't injure your fellow man. You don't steal from your fellow man. In other words, you don't cause damage to your fellow man. That's the only law you're responsible for. If you don't damage or harm anybody, and you're not damaging their property, these people that deem themselves your owners, they have no authority to be messing with you in any way, shape, or form. And the way they're messing with you is being done through the Bar Association. The Bar Association, the most evil organization ever created. You think the Nazis were bad? The Nazis are pikers compared to these people. These people have enslaved and ruined more lives than you could ever imagine. So we'll be getting to that, but the main thing I just want to get across is that the rule of zero, basically. If I have zero more rights than you, I'm always going to be at zero. And the next guy's always going to be at zero against you because he's got zero rights more than you. So if we put a group of 100 of them together and we call them a legislature, we add all the zeros up, it's still zero. So if zero is zero, now, zero versus zero. So anything they put down on a piece of paper, it means nothing. Okay? I need you to understand that. That's pretty much it for now. And I'll start kicking out a lot of these because it's a lot easier to do the audio stuff than it is to do written documents and stuff. And any written documents I create, I will put up there for your use. Hope all's well. Stay safe. And we're going to show you some things that are going to really unprogram you, unwind your mind. Thanks.